guys, welcome back to another Parts Factory Australia installation tutorial video. Today we're going to be changing this window regulator inside of this door. Now this one works, but I'm expecting that you have one that doesn't. Basically it's going to take about say 10-15 minutes. We're going to pull the door card off, we're going to pull the door glass out, we'll pull the window reg out, unplug in a few little wires. Actually super easy, so don't let that freak you out. Each step is literally a couple bolts, so yeah, expect to have this one done in about 20 minutes realistically. Guys, if you did require this part, Parts Factory Australia has this available on their website. I believe they're about $148.30 with free express post anywhere in Australia, so you really can't go wrong checking that out. I'll leave the link in the description of the video. You can click on the title, check out the description, cruise over to the website, get the part on its way to you, and that way once you've got it in your hot little hand, you can use this video to get the whole job done, and you're going to save thousands when compared to going to a mechanic. Guys, if you also do appreciate this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if this is something that you're doing often, maybe you're a DIY mechanic, etc, etc, subscribe to the channel. You never know when you're going to need it again. Alright, let's jump into it. Alrighty guys, so in order to access our window regulator, we need to get behind this door panel. Now, it's realistically pretty straightforward. You've got a screw in here, a screw here, and about three screws around the edge. But I'll run through them one at a time. So this one, you just use a little flathead. You can just pop it in there, give it a twist, pull this little flat back, and then of course Phillips head screw in there. It'll drop down and you can just open the door handle, grab the screw out, stick it on the ground, and then at this point this door handle will actually pop forward like that, and you can use a flat screwdriver just to pop these little clips one at a time. Basically they just pop sideways and then the rod goes up into the air. Same thing over here, pop sideways, rod goes up into the air, and the door handle comes out like so. See those little rods there? That's what you just disconnected, and it's just these little blue clips. Basically they just go like this, pop, and then the rods go pop, 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 up, done. Right, next. This car's already missing a few of its screws. This one's already out here, this one's already out here. There is one down the bottom here. Again, they're just Phillips head screws, so nothing really complicated there. Now let's see if there's any around the outside. Yep, it appears that there's a couple over this way. So you use a little flat head and you can just pop it in and pull those little plastic trim bits out one at a time. 1, 2, they might drop on the ground, that's okay. Just stick them next to your other screws and you can just go 1, 2. So, at that point, this door card, providing you've got the screw in this little master control switch trim, I've got a pre-existing little cut there on my finger, just recut it. Alrighty guys, so once you've got the little screw out of the master switch, you actually pry it from the front, and then you pull it this direction, rotate it over, then you can pull out the plugs, 1 and 2. Alrighty, so once you've got all of that done, it's now time to use a flathead screwdriver, find the little crease in the center of the door, and we just pry it up like that. And once it's started, you can finish just by running your hand around, popping it off one at a time. Something might fall out, and then you pop it up in the air and just pull it off, stick it out of your way. Alrighty guys, so as this is my own personal daily, I'm going to make the decision to destroy this plastic insulation wrapping, but you can do this job without destroying it. What you can do is you peel it up like this, wrap it over onto itself, and that way you can see in here, which is where we have to access, a bit easier. How does it look? Is it believable? Sweet. Alrighty guys, so if your window regulator does not work whatsoever, and you've confirmed that, and it's not your master switch causing the issues or the fuses, that means your glass will be stuck in the up position. In order to rapidly get it down, what you can do is you just cut this cable here. We'll undo these bolts, and then you'll cut the other cable. The glass will either stay right where it is, or it will fall. If it does fall, put your hand here to catch it as it comes down, or guide it down with your hand. Obviously we want to save the glass, we don't want to shatter the glass, and you have to buy a glass as well. Now, there is nothing wrong with my regulator, so I'm going to be doing it the other way, pretending as if I cut it, but instead I'll bring it down and I'll show you what it'll look like to get it all done. Alright, so in order to get the glass down in my case, I can use the switch itself, bring it down, and see these two Phillips head screws. That's where we can undo the door glass off the reg, which is something that you will need to do. So you can use your Phillips head screws. The glass will sit there in position because of these white tabs, and you just pull the glass up, rotate it, and spin it so you can maneuver it out of the door. There it comes. Throw your glass out of the way, somewhere nice and safe where it's not going to get stood on. So guys, you will now have a cut window regulator, etc., but you'll still have all these components we still need to remove out of the door. To do that, you've got 3 10 mils, 2 up the top here, 2 down the bottom here, and that will cause the window regulator to pop out of position. There's a plug just here, which you just push down and pull off, and your window regulator will now come out freely out of the door. Alrighty guys, so I now hope that you've removed all of the pieces of your window regulator from inside the door, because you don't want any rattling, you don't want any screws in there, otherwise the vibrations of the engine will rattle and it'll be very annoying. So as you can imagine, it's now time to put our new one in. Now, as I said, there's nothing wrong with mine, but let's hope that you have your Parts Factory Australia window regulator with you right now in your hand. That way you're all good to go. Make sure they're exactly the same. You can do that just by measuring the length of these cables. Make sure that this plug is exactly the same. And of course, this metal bracket is exactly the same. Obviously, if you've ordered through Parts Factory, it's going to be, as I have tested it myself. Right, so it's now time to put the new one back in. So, super straightforward. It's realistically the exact same procedure, but of course, the other direction. So, we come up like this, rotate the reg a bit, so, and bring it over into place. You can grab your motor first, line that up with this hole here, because then once you do that, you can see the bolts want to pop through. 1, 2, 3. Now just place one on so it no longer moves. On by hand, and it's obviously in the correct position now. So at that point, it's now time to line up the remainder of the window reg. The bottom's in here, so now we just got to line up these top 2. Sometimes they need to all go in at the same time though, just bearing that in mind. Where is it? Let's go. There they are there, you can see them pop through, and then of course the bottom will pop through. Just stick one on each end so that you're not going to lose the position. Right, so Once you've got one on each little nut, you can then go ahead and put the rest on. Then you want to put your plug in, tighten all of them up, and it's time to test to make sure your new window regulator works the way it should. There it goes there. As you can see, it functions correctly. So now that we know the window regulator works as intended, it's now time to put our door glass back in. So take your door glass, we want to come up and over, stabbing the front in first and making our way towards the back. Here she goes there. Dropping it way down into place. You want to make sure that the glass sits in the seals of both sides of the door. Then you can bring the door glass down, and as it comes down, let's hope it lines up nicely with the regulator. Of course, we find it does. So that means it's now time to put our little self-tapping screws in, one at a time. One, and two. And at this point, you can do the final test to make sure it's all working properly. If at the beginning it gets caught just over here, just take it all the way down and then take it back up. And it will pop up into position nicely. Alrighty guys, so you've got your door glass back in. I've gone ahead and given mine a bit of a clean. Specifically, I cleaned it up around the very bottom because that'll be the hardest part to access once the door card's back on. So now that we've got the glass window regulator, we've tested it, it's all working, plugs in, etc, etc. Obviously it's now time to put our door card back on. However, you have that plastic trim, so grab it, bend it back down, seal it up nicely. It's a road noise seal, so the better you do it, the quieter your car is going to be on the inside of the cabin. So get that done, and then obviously it's now time to put the door card back on. Alrighty guys, so grab your door card, bring it over to your door. Now you've got these little master control switch plugs. They are important. So you bring them through first, or at least have them in the generalized area so you don't lose them. And then basically, in order to get this door card back on, you have to get this little plastic trim over that metal piece of the door card. So you can just bend it, and as you can see, it sits on there nicely. And at this point you can see all of your rods and of course the wiring, as I said. So once you feel like it's sitting there nice and flush, it's now time to come around the edges, hitting the door card back into place, and then grab your master switch. 1, 2 plugs, tuck it in at the back here, and then bring it down at the front, making sure it's going to sit flush. Might take a little bit of a hit, but I'm going to just quickly chuck this screw in, because this is your primary support screw, and it'll hold it down, make this gap here nice and flush. So at that point guys, you now go around the outside, as you remember, put all your Phillips head screws back in, which is pretty self-explanatory. We've got 1, 2, remember you got a few over on this side. The most important one is the one down here at the speaker card, the speaker on the door card. Nice and tight. 1, 2. Remember, you need to keep 1 for your door handle here. I'm going to show you how to do that now. So you got these 2 rods, and as you can see, there's 2 slots for the rods. You bring your screwdriver up, and you can actually use your screwdriver to line up the hook with each blue clip. Using your screwdriver, you can just line it up, push it down, and then push the blue clip into place with your screwdriver. Using your screwdriver, lining up each rod with the blue clip into place, and then of course using your screwdriver to do that last little section, push your door handle into place. The last Phillips head screw straight in the door and closing it up with a little trim piece. You can now test to make sure your door unlocks and locks. Obviously the door won't lock when it's not shut, but other than that, you can now test to make sure your brand new window regulator is all functioning as it should. And as you can see, mine continues to function as it did already. Now, don't forget the two little plastic trim pieces that cover the Phillips head screws on this side. It just helps keep everything OEM and looking fresh. Alrighty guys, that's job complete. Alright guys, if you have enjoyed this video and you found it to be helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you can, sub to the channel. You never know when you're going to need a little bit of assistance doing any DIY repairs on any of your cars at home. Don't forget, description of this video will have the product link. You can cruise on there, 148.30, free express anywhere in Australia. Can't really go wrong with that guys. My name's Lucas, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.